Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Scorpio. Woo, Scorpio. I love doing my Scorpio readings. I'm not even going to lie. You guys are really one of my favorite signs. I'm actually a Sagittarius myself. I do have a Mars in Pisces. Maybe that's something. And my rising is Taurus, which is quite sort of, you know, on again, off again, does well with Scorpio. But nevertheless, it's something about you guys. You're so enigmatic, so mysterious in a lot of ways. And yet in a lot of ways, you're also just so sensitive and so full, passionate and full that I love your readings. Your readings are always very intense. So let's get right into it, Scorpio. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages just to see what they have for your week. And then we're going to get into your animal spirits and your spread. All right, Scorpio, new love. New person has stirred your romantic interests or feelings. Finance and career. Finances are affecting your life right now. Certainly your relationships and past life relationship. You have known each other before. All right, Scorpio. Well, I'm not surprised about the past life relationships because you guys really do have intense relationships. And I do notice a lot of times the Scorpios, it's just something about it that you tend to have relationships with, you know, deep relationships with soulmates and people that you've known over many lives, right? So let's pull out your animal spirits. Now, animal spirits can be representative of character traits or personalities of people that you may be dealing with. They can represent energies that are becoming available to you. And they can also represent a stage or a path in your life that you're entering into, right? So let's just see. I want to say thank you and hello to the countries that are watching me the most. India. Hello, India. Hello, Holland. The Netherlands, goeiedag, goeieavond. Hello, South Africa. Thank you for watching me. Canada, of course, is one of my biggest audience. It's always amazing to watch, you know, when I check out, you know, my videos or my video analytics and I see where my audience is at. And it's just like, you three countries have come out really hard for me. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. All right, guys, the camel. Fire energy. Lovely, lovely animal. The shark. Strong water energy. And we have the bee. More air energy. So this is what I'm talking about, Scorpio. You generally will have apex animal spirits or predator animal spirits in your readings, right? So let's get right into it. The camel. Lovely, lovely spirit. The camel is the highest card in the deck for independence. All right, the camel, very strong, fiery, independent individual, self-reliant to a fault, really. And what do we know about the camel in nature? We know that the camel can go for vast stretches in the desert, in the heat, in the dry, and survive. When it needs sustenance, what does it do? It taps inward. It taps the water that it carries around in its hump. So it taps its inner strength, its inner well source, right? Camels are very, very sort of even-spirited as well, right? So when you're dealing with someone who's very aggressive or very heated, right? Camel energy is the kind of energy you want because the camel can stay extremely cool in the face of that kind of energy, in the face of anger, in the face of heat coming towards you. It's just something about the camel. And being a Sagittarius, which is a very independent sign anyway, I really love that about the camel in the sense that they are willing to sort of traverse very emotional and spiritual sort of territory, but they do it all by themselves. They don't need any help from anyone else. And in fact, oftentimes the camel individual will shun the help of others and prefer to rely on its own sort of strength and resources. Now the shark. Shark is another apex predator, right? Another strong animal spirit. But here we have a water element. And the shark, what do we know about the shark in the wild, right? The shark is one of these creatures that lurks in the depths, right? It seems to come out of nowhere. Right? When we see movies about shark attacks, it's like the shark came out of nowhere. No one saw it coming. Well, This animal spirit talks to a time or a stage in your life where you may not be facing up to your true feelings, right? When your true feelings are just sort of simmering below the surface, right? And you're not acknowledging them, they can be a danger to you. Just like the shark can be a danger to anyone who doesn't sort of look out for it or watch for its presence. When you are in a situation emotionally, and of course this is a water element, so we're talking about emotions. When you're in a situation emotionally and you're not being honest about how you truly feel, right? You're not addressing your true feelings. They will come out eventually, but they will come out in a way that you can't control, right? So what happens is that if you don't address this issue now, or if you don't address these feelings that are simmering sort of beneath the surface now and in a way so that you can be in control of the situation, they will come back out to hurt you or bite you in the ass later on. And then when they come out later on, oftentimes the emotions will explode, erupt, just like the shark does, coming out of the depths, and bam, there it is, causing havoc. So this is more of a warning, animal spirit, of saying, look, you really need to pay attention to what's going on. You really need to address your deeper feelings, and hiding them or pretending that they aren't there is just not going to work. Now, the bee came out earlier for Libra, and the bee is one of my regular players on my readings. Air energy. Everybody loves to be around a bee, right? Now, in real life, people can't stand bees, right? They're nervous about getting stung. But the truth of the matter is that bees in general are very harmless. They won't hurt you unless they feel threatened. And the bee is an extremely resourceful animal spirit, a very sort of communal animal spirit. This is the animal spirit that represents the idea of democracy, right? Of everyone being treated sort of fairly, everyone having their voice. What do we know about the bee in nature? We know that they live in colonies, right? Of course, there's always the queen bee, but there's a colony sort of regiment there where every bee has its place. Every bee is important, right? And this is how someone who resonates with this sort of animal spirit energy, this is how they are. This is the person who's going to make sure that everyone at the party is having a good time. This is the person that's going to make sure that, they're literally going to buzz around and make sure that everyone is being heard, that, they're the ones who are also will mediate. For instance, if you're in a social group and a couple of you in this social group are having a falling out, your mutual friend will probably resonate with bee energy. And this mutual friend who wants to iron things out, mediate, get you two to talk to each other, this person is going to be resonating with bee energy. You can see with the green coloring that they bring a huge amount of creativity to whatever they do. And in general, the bee is just a lovely personality to be around, and anyone would be happy and blessed to have a person with this sort of personality as a friend. All right, guys, let's get right into it, Scorpio. You got some heavy cards here, right? We're talking about being independent, facing up to your feelings, or perhaps dealing with friends who may help you in a particular scenario. Let's get right into it. We're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 6 3-card spreads for you, Scorpio. Now, remember this. These forecasts that I pull out, they are ideally meant to be for different Scorpios, right? They are not meant to be all for the same Scorpio, or they may not resonate with you at all. But these are different forecasts that I lay out because... I found that the weekly readings, I'd like to be able to cover more ground for more people rather than just have one reading that only a few of you may resonate with. And so in this way, I pull out a few 3-card spreads to see what different Scorpios out there may be going through. And so you may resonate with a portion of each, or just one of them and not the others, or none of them, and that's fine. Just take what applies and let the rest fly, All right, Scorpio, let's get your first spread out. Straight out the gate, we have 10 of Wands. Nice. 8 of Pentacles. And the Queen of Swords. All right, some of you Scorpios, you're laying down burdens, right? This week you're coming in, I think for some of you. You have perhaps been dealing with some of these deeper feelings, right? Because 10 of Wands talks about finally laying down burdens that we have gotten used to. baggage perhaps we've gotten used to. These wands, they represent attitudes, ideas we have about ourselves, feelings that we have, modes of behaving that we have held on to. All of which generally, usually are sort of left over from either a traumatic situation or a difficult relationship. An example of these wands could be negative self-doubt, low self-esteem, self-confidence issues, right? Negative self-image, perhaps a way of behaving that's a little bit dysfunctional. And all of this is as a result of perhaps what you've been through before, but you've accumulated these wands in an effort to sort of use them as a crutch, right? Sometimes we use these things as a crutch to deal with situations. But what you found that is that they aren't a crutch anymore. In fact, what they are is that they are a impediment to you progressing forward. You can see that the person is kind of has this forward leaning motion on these wands, but he's not really seeing where he's going, and so he's not really in control of where he's going. It's time to lay it down. And this is exactly what's happening for you, Scorpio. Some of you are finally perhaps addressing some of these wands, some of this burden that you've been carrying around in your soul, in your spirit, in your heart, and you're ready to lay it down and be free of it so that you can walk upright again. This is a very, very strong card for healing. And you're met with the Eight of Pentacles. So as a result of laying down some of this burden and baggage you've accumulated, you're doubling down this week on your work ethic, right? 8 is the number for boundary and strength. And so with 8 of Pentacles, we find someone who is restricting themselves, putting boundaries in place so that they can be focused to a task. This is what we call discipline, right? Boundaries that serve us in a positive way, that help us to focus our energies. It's called discipline, right? Restrictions. You're not going to go out and drink all night if you know that the next day you have something very important to do, right? And so this is an area of your life where you're feeling, you know what, it's time to really knuckle down. This is, of course, going to be to do with your money, your business, your finance, however it is you make your money. If you're an artist, this is going to be your art as well. And so this is a really nice healing kind of energy that's come through. You round the week off with the Queen of Swords. And I think the Queen of Swords comes in because you found yourself in a lot of ways, Scorpio. This is a forecast for Scorpio who's healing and learning something about themselves. You know, this laying down of the baggage, this doubling down on work, could be that maybe you haven't been working as hard because you've been caught up with this, but now that you're getting rid of this, you're doubling down on your work. And what happens is Queen of Swords is all about cutting away the mask, not playing a role anymore, and being extremely honest with who you are, facing up to who you are, right? The Queen of Swords also requires people around her to do the same. You know, she says, if I've done the hard work of showing my true self, finding my true self, and showing my true self, then I require everyone at my court to do the same. And so when she's beckoning you with that hand and that sword, she's beckoning you to show your face to her. That's the essence of that motion on that card. So she wants to see the real you. And she requires that if you want to have an audience with her. So she's not going to entertain phonies. She's not going to entertain fakes, you know. And in a lot of ways, this has been a huge sort of resonating up for Scorpio out there in terms of really coming closer to who they are, understanding who they are, and perhaps even accepting who you truly are. More wands, King. Ace of Cups, new love, and another king. Wow. King of Wands, Ace of Cups, and King of Pentacles. Some of you are coming into this week with a desire to follow your passion and your goal, right? You're desiring to sort of go out into the world. The King of Wands is all about being that leader, setting that example, going after his ambitions. He has a track record for manifesting his goals, right? The King of Wands has a track record also for manifesting some of the most outrageous things, right? You know, the type of ideas and goals that other people may say, well, you're crazy. Why would you want to do that? Well, the King of Wands will always go after what his heart truly is passionate about, regardless of what anybody else thinks. He's the quirky king. He's the eccentric king. He's the unique king. And so when he shows up, it talks about you being very sort of very intentional about going after a certain objective or a certain passion of yours, but really attacking it wholeheartedly, right? Having your sights on it. The king is absolutely has his eyes fixed on the horizon and his objective. And so you're coming into this week with this energy. Some of you may indeed be in a position of leadership in a particular area, you know, that, again, that you feel passionate about. You come across the Ace of Cups. So there's a new love on the horizon, right? There's a new love on the horizon as you go out into this world, to the world this week. I'm going to say this love comes into your view during the course of you going about your day-to-day sort of activities, you know, going about your day-to-day sort of activities that are geared towards your objective. So for instance, an example could be if you are trying to set up a community center and it's something very close to your heart because you're an artist, right? And you're at the helm of this project. So therefore you are the King of Wands. You're trying to manifest your vision, and your vision is something you feel very strongly about. This week, an example will be that as you go about your day-to-day activities towards this objective, you come across someone and it's a love connection. This is what I'm talking about. You round the week off with a King of Pentacles. So somebody else, interestingly enough, comes in and has an impact here on this connection. And it's a King of Pentacles. So I'm going to say for some of you, you come across this new love connection, but it's almost as if right away you find out that this new love connection somehow is also connected to somebody else that you work with. It could be that this King of Pentacles is the money man in your project, right? The investor. But this King of Pentacles is absolutely separate from you. And I'm going to say they're separate from this Ace of Cups as well. So for some of you, interesting, this is a very specific reading. I'm almost going to say if we go back to that example that I gave you, that you meet someone during the course of your activities that you're like, oh, wow, who's that, right? You find out by the end of the week that that person is also connected to you and your activities by another, right? They may already be involved with the King of Pentacles or somehow associated with this King of Pentacles. This King of Pentacles will also be involved in your work too. It's a real kind of interesting little sort of 6 degrees of separation is what I'm going to say. So if you're going through this, Scorpio, you're resonating with this, please sound off below in the comments. I will be very, very curious to know about this particular situation. Justice, the Chariot, and the 5 of Cups. Some of you you have balance, rebalancing coming in. Some of you are waiting for a judgment to come in. A real judgment. Now, justice is associated with Libra. It's also associated with rebalancing. But it can also mean an actual judgment, a court case, a rendering, a mediation, a discussion of some sort. But oftentimes, justice can really indicate an official kind of agreement or an official kind of statement that comes out, right, that specifically impacts you, right? And of course, this official action in some way will serve to rebalance something in your life that has been out of balance. Sometimes I say justice can come in. It can be a divorce decree. It can be a separation agreement or a business agreement. I think in this particular case, this may indeed be something to do with love, something like a separation, a divorce, or something. And even if it is a business decision, it's impacting your love life. And I'm going to tell you why, because you have this 5 of Cups here. The judgment comes in and you're met with Chariot energy. And this means that some of you, Scorpios, you've been waiting for this. And now that it comes in, it either has just come in or will be coming in this week. And you're set off into a new path in your life. You've been waiting for this so that you could go on with your life. However, you round the week off with a 5 of Cups. This judgment comes in, but it doesn't come in without some sadness and regret. All right, Scorpio, some of you, yes, you needed this rebalancing. I'm going to give you an example. Another example would be if this justice, if this action coming in, perhaps it's the finalization of a divorce, right? And it's been a difficult divorce, right? It's been a difficult, perhaps, marriage. Obviously, the marriage didn't work out, or else you wouldn't be getting divorced, right? But this judgment comes in and it frees you to finally get on with your life. Nevertheless, you still find sadness at the end of the week. You still mourn the end of whatever this judgment has brought. The end of whatever situation that this judgment has come in on. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying, okay, yeah, I'm free now. The divorce has come in now. But damn, it was a rough ride. Shit, you know, now that this can often happen sometimes, because when you're busy with the action, right? Certainly when you're in the throes of, and again, an example like a divorce and separation, when you're in the throes of it, you're in the throes of it. But when all the dust is settled, the papers are signed, and you finally are free to get on with your life, there's always a mourning period, isn't there? It doesn't even matter if you're the one who instigated it, you know, if you're the one who wanted to leave, or if it was a horrible relationship and you should be happy. There is always a mourning process whenever we lose anything, including a relationship. A lot of private readings I do for people about this situation, they say to me, you know, I do, in the private readings that regard these kind of situations, this comes up often. You know, people are happy, right? They're happy that the relationship is over, but they find themselves sad. And they don't understand why they're sad and happy at the same time. And oftentimes I say, because you still have to give yourself time to mourn what was lost. Even if what was lost was something that needed to be lost or needed to be put behind you, that doesn't mean you don't mourn it, because it's still a failure in some way, right? It still feels like a failure. It still feels like a loss, you know? And so some of you Scorpios, yeah, this has happened and you're still kind of like, you know, you're still kind of sad about it. What can I say? 9 of Wands, Emperor energy, and Ace of Swords. This is going to be your last spread, Scorpio. Some of you, remember I said earlier with the 10 of Wands, this is the period where you lay down the wands, right? In this particular spread, forecast, this is for a Scorpio who's not quite ready to lay them down yet, but they're beginning to understand that they need to. This is for a Scorpio who's beginning to see the baggage he or she has been carrying around them, with them. They're beginning to see these wands for what they are. They alienate him from the creativity and the greener pastures, right? And these are wands that he's collected along the way. He's used them as a crutch. You can see him using one of the wands as his crutch right there. So this speaks to his awakening and understanding that, hang on a second, everything I thought I was using to protect myself, I'm starting to realize that it hasn't protecting me at all. In fact, it's been alienating me. And now is the period of reflection where you're starting to really do that shadow work, we call, of looking at what these wands really are and beginning to understand them so that you can come up to the 10 and lay it down. You're in this space. You're met with Emperor energy. Someone in your life is coming in who kind of rebalances you. Not even so much rebalances you, but they restabilize you. Scorpio, if you're feeling a little bit unstable as a result of this awakening here, you have a very good friend here, or a lover, a relative, whatever the case may be. This person is a very fiery individual, obviously, Emperor energy, associated with Aries. But more than anything, the Emperor brings stability and brings power, right? He brings a power base. He brings order, right? He brings consistency, right? Everything that you need to maintain, to establish and maintain authority and power. And this person resonates with this. This may be a very good friend, like I said, but in any case, you're met with this person and they really help you with this, I think. And they really help you kind of with a few other things in your life as well. Because you round off the week with an Ace of Swords, which is very clear thinking, Scorpio. You've suddenly gotten to the answer to a particular area in your life. And it's come out of, this clarity and this understanding has come out of you recognizing your own sort of baggage and having this conversation with this individual, or at least having this interaction with this person who seems to kind of like help you refocus, right? This person kind of helps you sort of restabilize and sort of reorder your life in such a way, and things become, as a result of this, a lot becomes clear to you, certainly with regard to how you've been sort of living your life perhaps. This is going to be clarity, and it's also going to be a solution to a particular problem. So whatever problem has been vexing you, whatever obstacle has been in your way, this awakening and this conversation with this individual who's very much there to help you in a lot of ways, even if it's only by example, right? Even if you don't talk to them, the example that they're leaving you is helping. There's a solution and understanding that's coming into your life about a particular area that you have had some trouble with recently, whether it's love, career, money, relationships, personal endeavors, whatever the case may be. Ace of Swords is a solution to that. All right, Scorpio, this is your reading, December 22nd to the 28th. I do hope you resonated with this reading. If you did, please like and subscribe and share and all of that good stuff. If you are in the running for the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, I would urge you just for the next couple of days to turn on your notifications so that when I announce the winner, you can send me your address and I can mail this Oracle deck out to you. I do understand that it gets a little bit tedious to constantly hear creators tell you to hit the bell and all of that. And so I'm only asking you to do it for a couple of days so that in case you're the winner, I can send you your deck. And then after that, you can remove the bell if you want to. All right, guys. But for right now, I'm just going to say, Scorpio, have a wonderful, wonderful penultimate week in 2019. And I'm going to see you next week for the final weekly reading of 2019. Bye-bye now.